Alright, so it looks like Sparky over here is joining us for the deck tech. That's cool. Today, this is going to be Clerics combo. This is a deck featuring the combo of Exquisite Blood and an effect like Veto of the Dusk Rose. Exquisite Blood says that whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life, and Veto says when you gain life, opponent loses that much life. So basically what happens is if you gain any sort of life while these two things are on the battlefield, they will just ping pong back and forth until your opponent is drained of all their life. So basically what this deck needs to do is stall or try to win through aggro, and then basically if it finds an Exquisite Blood towards the end of the game, then you just combo with it. So this is, in addition to that, also a Clerics deck. So we are running at the top Oros, Skyclave, Hierophant, a 3/3 core cleric that whenever it dies, you can return a cleric with lesser CMC from your graveyard to the battlefield. So with one of these on board and your graveyard full of things, every time they board wipe you, you just get an army that is 1 CMC less across the board. In the 3-drop cleric spot, we have Veto, basically drains our opponent when we gain life, and can also give our creatures lifelink, which can sometimes be a win condition in of itself. Additionally, since we're gaining life, there is a Heliod Suncrowned that can grow our creatures. Just the 2 of, since this is not a main strategy that we're going after, but it's good to have. Then, I guess in terms of life gain, since we're talking about that, we have Cleric class to give us extra life and have that Heliod ability at level 2 of putting a counter on the creature that you control. And then there's Lunarch Veteran, which is another thing that can gain us life. Now, a reason that we want to gain life is because we're also running 4 Voice of the Blessed, just an absolutely broken card that grows as you gain life, and then can gain flying and or indestructible down the line. Additionally, there's in the 2 slot, we have Cleric of Life spawned that gains you life when another cleric enters the battlefield. And then it also grows 1 time a turn. Then there's Eyeless Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim, same sort of deal, gain a life here and there, all the while triggering, Cleric class, Heliod to grow your things bigger, Voice of the Blessed, all those things. Additionally, your opponent will get drained when things that you control die. Sometimes this on a board wipe in conjunction with Veto, in conjunction with the flip side of Lunarch Veteran, all triggering on death, it could be enough to drain out an opponent. And then the 2 last pieces in this deck are the 4 of Dire Tactics, basically our only removal spell that just hits creatures. And then there is Pyre of Heroes, what is essentially a birthing pod, but for... this is essentially a nerfed birthing pod for 2 mana that we are going to use to try to recycle our clerics into bigger clerics. This is generally pretty good if we have a 2-drop and then need to find a Veto, or if we have a Veto and need an Aura for some protection against control. Mana base is pretty straight up, just split down the middle in terms of swamps and plains, and basically that is the deck. This is not very competitive, but in the past, it has had other combos slot into it, such as the Vesper Lark combo, before that was nerfed out by the redesign of alchemy cards. And yeah, sometimes it used to be pretty good. Now there's a bit more quick things that you can do in this format for Historic. So it is pretty much a tier B or tier C, more likely. Anyway, we'll give it a couple of games today and see if we can do the combo. Let's do it. Hey, here we go for game 1 against Twitch. Very cool name. We have the Voice of the Blessed in hand in addition to Heliod. Unfortunately, no way to gain life, which kind of sucks. But this should be okay. If we play Veto and Pyre him into a 4-drop, that could also be pretty good. I can also play Heliod and then pump Voice of the Blessed. Then we also have 2 Scoured Barons to gain life, but unfortunately I need them for my white mana sources, so I will be deploying them early. They play blue mana, I'll play another tap land, say go. They could very well be on the blue-red deck. I'll play voice, and that'll be it for the turn. Okay, some sort of flash deck. Okay, so this is just draw 2 cards a turn kind of deal. I will probably need to Dire Tactics Ironcrag Pyromancer until I can keep Voice of the Blessed alive. So for now, I can really only play a Cleric class. I think it would be irresponsible to do anything else. There is Royal Scions. I will just kill Ironcrag in response.
Courage is the greatest virtue.
Aye, with the knowledge to direct it. Let us plan.
Now the question next turn is, do I play Veto, Cleric, or Pyre? Or Veto or Cleric and Pyre. Basically, if I draw the land, I think I'm on the double spell. Otherwise, I am not. There's an Aura. That's pretty good. I could then get Veto to get in here. Or... yeah, actually, no, getting Veto in seems good. I can swing in for 2 at the Scions. Seems like a good deal to me. They're going to draw a bunch of cards again. And Improbable Alliance, sure. So they're going to get a bigger creature and another creature. Got to deal with 2 things now. But I think this is getting close to the point where I can start to stabilize. Another Heliod. I think I can play a Heliod next turn, either double spell or give something lifelink. I think I just need to pressure the Scions. I feel like they probably have a flash card here. It's looking like it. Hope I don't lose Voice of the Blessed. Oh, and they make another Improbable Alliance. Bummer. And that's a painful trade. Okay. Well, at least it keeps me a bit more alive. I'd really love to have Aura. Yeah, Aura next turn is really good. Cleric is not bad, but I think I need Aura first. Oh, Niv knows it. That's going to be hard. I'd like another removal spell, please. That's not a removal spell. Okay. Clerical Vice Bond doesn't really do anything, and that is death, it looks like. I will just go ahead and concede for this one. They've got me this turn. Double Dire Tactics on a white hand. That is an instant mulligan. This is much better. Plus we have Veto, Exquisite Blood. I think I'll keep this, dropping Veto because Veto is not very important in the early game. And I have a pretty good hand here. I will play a Veteran, then another Veteran. Actually, no, then Eyeless Ilkor. Ellis Ilkor. Okay, so this is just Mono Brown Ramp. I will continue with my plan of playing some creatures out. And now it's just swing for the fences, hope we get there before they do. They gain some life, that is not good. Okay, so this is in fact Artifact Storm. They'll imprint something. They imprinted a Cloud Key, which is surprising. They must have another one of them in hand. I'll play my duel. Get that out. I'll gain some life myself, but they're on a game plan that doesn't really care about how much life I have. Alright, so here comes a bunch of cheap stuff. Now there's Forsaken Monument and Hedron Archive, okay. They have not solved the problem of having card draw yet. They have a bit of temporary card draw in Mind Stone and Hedron Archive, which Forsaken Monument is going to help them get through. But after that, I don't really know what they do. So there's the potential that I don't die this turn. Here is Cleric of Life Bond to gain 3 life and grow itself once. Okay. They take 4. And there is Ulamog probably taking lands. Either way, it's starting to get pretty bad for me. Okay, so they just take my creatures. It's not the worst thing that could happen, but Ulamog probably... I mean, he 3-shots me in a couple different ways. I'll play this, Exquisite Blood, and a veto does it. Otherwise, it's looking bad. So I have 1 veto. Actually, I have not played a veto yet, so all 4 are in my deck. We get lucky. We'll see. Okay. There goes a bunch of my deck. How many vetoes are in that, if any? No vetoes. I feel lucky. Alright. I will say no blocks. I'm on that 2-turn clock now. Looks like I've got... Well, that's a bummer. 20 cards. I have, yeah, 2 more turns. Ugin can kill me or wipe my board. That will do it. I have no way of getting out of this. And yeah, Caves of Koilos cements it. Alright. We are the opposite of undefeated right now. We're 0-2 after 2. Let's see what we can do in the next game. Alright, game 3. Double Exquisite Blood in the opener. Lunarch Voice is like not the worst thing that I could see, but Exquisite Blood kind of sucks. It is 100% a mulligan if my opponent does, and still a 50% mulligan if they do not. They keep 7. What the heck, I'll keep 7. That's probably dumb, but I do have the chance of getting 2 triggers on Voice of the Blessed right off the bat. One with Lunarch, one with Scoured Barrens. Assuming that I draw land on turn 2, because otherwise I'm playing it. Here's Sinkhole. See what my land for turn is. Opponent taking their darn time. Okay, so it's goblins. Cool. That is not necessarily the coolest thing ever for me, but now I've got double Voice of the Blessed for next 2 turns, and I will just try to get the heck out of dodge using these 2 cards. This is appearing to be mono red that plays Gem Palm Incinerator, so I'll just have to dodge that. Hopefully they don't know that I'm going to want to keep this Lunarch Veteran around. Either way, we are on Voice of the Blessed. I will just pass, don't need to expose that card to death. Okay, so this is, okay, Sling Gang, sure. Alright, so question is, do I play Veto or another Voice of the Blessed? Probably a Voice. I'd like to just start growing these things. I can offer them a trade for their entire board with one Voice of the Blessed. I'm fine with that. I know that Sling Gang is important for them to keep. Okay. Things start to get worrisome here if they play... Okay, yeah, Muxus. That was always scary. They just get a Sling Gang. That's really good. No haste enablers. Now here I am looking pretty okay. I will play a Cleric of Life's Bond, trying to get Lunarch Veterans ready, or I can Dire Tactics Muxus. Muxus hits for a lot next turn. I can... Let's see, so this will become a little bit bigger. It will not be big enough. Cleric of Life's Bond is really good to get into play, though. I'll just see how much damage I can eat. He'll get plus 2, 4, 6, 7. He'll be an 11 mana. I'll try to just out heal the damage and see what happens. Okay. Well, my stuff gets a little bigger. And this turn, I think it's going to be all about staying alive, so I'm going to wait to attack until my Voice of the Blessed get their Vigilance. Skirk Prospector is bad, and can they cast another Muxus off of this? Oh, I'm thinking they can. Alright, so we gotta dodge another Muxus. They did misplay. They have to now sack a Muxus to the Legend roll. They also grabbed the wrong one, but they do hit their Cranko, and I am just dead here. I think. Oh wait, no, I'm 100% dead because they can just Sling Game me to death. I think I will spare them the... Okay, what are they doing? Are they just... Do they have another Muxus in hand? Oh no, it's just a Cranko. Sure. 43, 43, I'll just take no blocks. Sheesh. Okay, we're like a turn or two away against goblins. That is our 0-3 after 3 record. Hey, maybe the second half of this league will not be too bad. We got 4 more games to go. Let's see if we can fix this. Here we go in round 4. We have a not very fast hand and it doesn't really do too much. I'm okay with mulliganing this. I kind of want some more early cards. This is better. I can get rid of a swamp and then just do these clerics. Okay, so I'll get this out early. Then I'll play a cleric on 2. Okay, well now this is kind of awkward. I'll play this out, then get another cleric, then get the voice out. Here's my second white Saurus. I'll just play the cleric. These guys get to grow a bit. And then I have the Voice of the Blessed coming up next. And opponent says they don't even want anything. Alright, well, that feels kind of like a pity win at this point, but hey, we just finished game 4, and we are 3-1, not 4-0. We'll take that. Anyway, on to game 5. Let's go. Alright, game 5. This seems okay. I'm missing the second white pip for Voice of the Blessed, but we can use Veto and Pyre of the Heroes to get our aura. We'll keep it. Play Plains first, just in case we get the second one for Voice. And a life gain mirror. That's cool. Hylosil Court goes in. Okay, so this is Trelisara territory. Okay. The question is, do I do Heliod or Veto? I will probably just play... Ooh, kind of a hard decision, actually. I'll play Veto so that I can stop the 1 pings every turn. They play their own Heliod. Cleric of Life's Bond gives me some game here now. I can at least start to take it up. Scurry Oak, okay. Well, we're just comboed out now. That's unfortunate. So what happens to me now? Is there even a way that I come back from this combo? For those that don't know, Scurry Oak is a pretty fast combo that involves some sort of Heliod type effect, so you can use Cleric class. There is Lunarch Veteran that gains you life, which triggers Scurry Oak. Or, sorry, that's not true. When it gains life, Heliod puts a creature on counter on Scurry Oak, which creates another creature, and Lunarch gains you life once more. So they're basically just going to be able to make a lethal amount of tokens and then a lethal Scurry Oak. So I will die in a multitude of ways on the next turn. Basically, if they decide to stop right at around 20, there's a chance I can survive. If they go pretty far over, then it's looking like I don't have an option. Getting an aura on board does kind of mess with this. So they actually decide to stop at 20. That is potentially not the right thing to do. I could survive. Here's Lunarch Veteran. Gain a life. And of course I'm not attacking. I will probably block with Lunarch Veteran, which can be recasted. Next turn I really just need to have another mana source. And they can start doing their thing again. I'm pretty good to concede here. We'll just see how long they decide to do Scurry Oak. Alright, fine. If they're just demonstrating a win already, I can concede. Saves us both some time. Okay, so it is game 5. We are, by luck of the non-game, we are 4-1. But it has felt like we have not been doing the thing. We have 2 more chances to get lucky and avoid what is pretty much an 0-7 game, or an 0-7 league. Alright, let's see if we can do it. Double Voice of the Blessed is... this feels like a trap. Because those just don't activate until I find a black mana source. And while I do have LSO Core, it's hard to tell if this is going to be okay. I'm going to keep. I believe in the luck of the draw. The best thing to have happen would be a black mana source draw on turn 1 or 2. Let's go. Alright. Well, this just looks a whole lot better now. I can get a Heliod down in turn 3. What is this? Fiend Artisan? Okay, so now we gotta deal with their toolboxing shenanigans. Here's Alice Ilcor. Turn 3 Heliod, turn 4 Voices. Seems good to me. If I lose LSL Core, that kind of sucks. Well, there we go. Start to take 1. I can get rid of Fiend Artisan, take 2, or take 1 rather, and then play a Cleric class. Now I'm getting set up to start turboing out these Voices of the Blessed. So I can play 1 Blessed, 1 Cleric. then trigger it with Scoured Barrens. Okay, that's something at least. If I draw another 2 mana thing, which is one of the most common mana costs in my deck, then that would have been good. Okay. Now, Voice doesn't gain me life. I can play Heliod, and then next turn I have play a Voice and make it bigger through Voice of the Blessed. Alright, I can... that didn't make sense. I can play Voice of the Blessed and then activate Heliod. Seems like Voice dies. Okay, so that's the second drag to the Underworld. I imagine they probably played 4. Alright, here is a Blessed. Makes Heliod bigger. There's Scoured Barrens to gain life. I will start to make the Voice bigger. Heliod cannot make himself have lifelink, unfortunately, but on my opponent's turn, if they attack, I can give Voice of the Blessed lifelink. Okay, it's just a Death Toucher, that's fine. They have the 3rd drag to the Underworld, so we can expect a 4th. Alright. It's unfortunately a land. Do I care more about getting creatures back? I think I do. Don't need Exquisite Blood just yet. I'm not trying to kill. And I have to pass. Luckily, our incidental life gain has kind of stabilized us a bit. So as we kind of settle down into this mono black control deck that also seems to play red and white, we'll see what happens. So far I don't know what could be the red and white. It could be the standard black-red threats. Okay, so I think I am going to be on taking the Voice back, which animates Heliod. I will gain my life, get a bunch of triggers onto Voice of the Blessed. Now we're starting to crack on. I can play Scoured Barrens, put 3 more counters on Voice, so now it's going to have Vigilance. I can... yeah, I just want to keep pushing this thing towards 10. So we do have Flying Vigilance. I can just crack in with Heliod. And now Cleric class might do the thing. So it's either we lose here or we win. They can veto combo me. And they cannot do it! Wow, we finally got a win in game 6. What a surprise. We were able to do it. Now we'll get to see if it's too much to ask for one more. On to round 7. Alright, here we are in round 7. The curve of this hand kind of stinks. I'd prefer something a bit quicker. I think I can mulligan for a better hand. Waiting for my opponent. I have no idea what RTFC is. If you know, make a comment, please, because I got no idea and I'd like to know. Opponent seems to be away making a coffee or something, which would surprise me because it's 8:30 in the evening. Well, I guess we'll be back either when they concede or when they first make their play. Alright, opponent finally keeps their hand. I'm going to mulligan mine. This one's much better, and I'll get rid of a Cleric class. Here's a plains, here's a cleric class. Cauldron Familiar. Okay, so we're playing a sack deck. They have the Witch's Oven. Here is my Barons. Here is my Lunarch Veteran. I have the opportunity of piring into another, not speaker, but the 2-mana white guy. Cauldron Familiar doing its thing. This is going to take a long time. It's unfortunate that we do not have clocks in Best of One. Dragonspark Reactor. This is the one that exiles. No, okay. So this thing just gets bigger and then I get domed by a big Dragonspark Reactor. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that addition to this deck. Okay, so Eyeless Ilkor or Cleric of Life Spawn. I'll put that in first. Get my Scoured Barons in for the life gain. Oh, actually, I'll pump it through this. We'll have an additional life gain with Scoured Barons. I'm keeping my life total up high. And opponent is going to make their Golden Familiar come back. So be it. Alright. Alright. Another Dragonspark. This thing is starting to get big. Another Cauldron Familiar and a Shambling Ghast. So this guy is just really on those small creatures. So what's happening now? The Dragonspark Reactor is going to get bigger by 2 a turn. Now I'm going to take 2 a turn. He's thinking about attacking, but he can't. Not through Cleric. Okay, so I get my second land. I could Cleric class up. I could Dire Tactics. I could Pyre of Heroes. I could Eyeless and then try to take out a Cauldron Familiar. Does that really matter when they have 2 Witch's Ovens? It doesn't really. So I think I'll just play Pyre of Heroes and Eyeless Ilkor. Yeah. That will make Cleric a little bigger. And I could potentially send Lunarch Veteran away for... Okay, well that's one way to do it. So I can just play this again this turn. Actually, play Pyre of Heroes actually, and then Lunarch Veteran can be whisked away next turn. I get in for 4 here. That seems fine. I do need to start limiting their life total. Cauldron comes back. Deadly Dispute, that's okay. Dragonspark Reactor up to 6 now. Pretty interesting spin on the Witch's Oven Cauldron Familiar. This is not purely Steel and Sack. This is instead Artifact and Sack. Kind of cool. And so this actually does give them constructs. Very cool. Okay. What happens now, though? I will think... Okay, so I can Lunarch Veteran. Yeah, Lunarch Veteran and then get rid of it seems like a good idea. So I gain a bit of life and then I can get rid of it and gain more life. Especially when Dire Tactics doesn't really do much. That seems like a good play. Cleric gets bigger. Alright, sack the Luminous Phantom. Should have CMC 1 because of the front side of the card. There is Voice of the Blessed. So it will get 2 counters right off the rip. As I go up to 30. I go in for a total of 6 damage here. Can they do much about it? They can, for 4 mana, deal 10 damage to something. And they can sack an artifact to deal 1 to me. Okay. So I'll just hit them for 7. See what they want to do. They can block with their construct. Okay. And they're gonna... Okay, they're gonna sack it with Oni Cult. Okay, they do the Witch's Oven thing. It looks like we are going to have by far the longest game of the series in Game 7. This will probably look funny with the YouTube chapters. Roadside Reliquary. Okay, that's pretty cool. Only draws them 1 though. Shambling Ghast does not kill anything that I have, which is good. So I'm feeling free to just go right back in. Okay, they're going to sack another thing. Spark goes to 10, 11, 12. I need to find a way to keep gaining life. Sure, Cauldron. They now have 2 blockers, so I can't attack with Eyeless, but I can attack with Voice and Cleric, so life looks good. Alright. Ooh, and I rip another Voice of the Blessed. That's really, really good. I can even pot it into a veto. Wow, that's actually really powerful. Sure. So I have Vigilance with that Voice. I could exile Shambling Ghast. It would just get recycled with Oni Cult Anvil though. So the question is, do I want... Yeah, actually I think I do need to have the... I do want to sacrifice this for a veto. I'd rather have the potential of comboing. Okay, there's veto. 3 left in the deck. Gain a total of 4. Trigger, trigger. Alright, opponent loses a little life here. Voice of the Blessed starts to really hit hard now. And because it can block, I'm happy. Untapped mana source wins me the game now. Go to 12. Alright. They are not scaling fast enough on Dragon Spark Reactor. So I might be able to come out of this. Surprising as it is. Opponent is going to take one heck of a long turn cycle here to figure out what he's doing. My guess is it involves sacking all 3 of their things to Witch's Oven. And Dragon Spark will go to 16. Okay. They just say they can't do it. That is it then. We have come full circle here, winning the last 2 games after just a brutal first start to the series. Okay, so that was white-black Clerics combo. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Looking for some of those to grow the channel. And that is it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.